Jimmy Dang from Maximum PC here at CES 2016. I'm here at Silverstone's booth, speaking with Silverstone manager Michael.
Hello.
And Michael, can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Yeah, no problem. So today we're actually showing off a new product that we have. We have the RV-Z01. This is actually a really popular product that a lot of people like because it's able to go ahead and build a really high powerful computer into a really small system. This is the newest evolution that we have of it, the RV-Z01-E. With this product, we're trying to solve a couple problems that people had with the original model. The biggest thing was that when they took a look at a case like this, they were really scared off by the power supply. They saw what's a form factor called SFX, and they were a little bit intimidated because it's not something that they're really normally too used to building with.
Yeah, it's a smaller power supply.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something that puts out the same power, same exact cables you have with the normal power supply, but instead of being, the larger physical, larger size, it's much more compact. So people haven't been too familiar with that in the past. So we wanted to go ahead and improve on that with the new cases. And in order to answer that problem, we made it so that this case can also accept a full-size ATX power supply. So you're no longer limited to having that smaller guy on there. When you have that, there's a couple of compromises that you do have. So for example, before, on the bracket that held the power supply, it also held an additional 3.5-inch hard drive. So now obviously you can see that's not put on there. Just as well on the front, there used to be USB headers that came off the front over here. We had to relocate those so that they're now on the side of the case. This is where the ODD used to be, so now you're not having an optical drive on the case. But when you also get rid of that, we also make it so you can hold an additional 2.5. So the big compromises are that you gain the ATX power supply, you lose a 3.5, but you gain a 2.5. Just as well, if you still aren't really happy with a couple of the losses that you have on here, you are kind of in confidence knowing that we still do sell the original model. So whether you're wanting to have the full-size ATX or have the 3.5 and the ODD, you have a lot of compromises and a lot of options between the two models that we carry.
Sweet, cool. And then I think you guys are showing off some new colors for some cases.
Yeah, definitely.
On the other side.
So another couple new products that we have are the RVX01. This is more so of our affordable option to enter into the Raven family line. Silverstone has really been known for the Raven cases because they're much more adventurous and things that a lot of people haven't seen before in cases. So for example, on this guy right here, you'll see that normally all the graphics cards and everything come out of the back of the case. But what we did is we rotated the graphics card, the motherboard, everything on it. So it's a 90-degree rotation. Everything goes out of the top of the case. Right. This makes a lot of sense for your thermals. So
sure.
For example,
heat rises, right?
Exactly, heat rises. So on the bottom of it, you have three 120-millimeter fans. In the sample that we built, we put a 240-millimeter radiator on the bottom of here on a custom loop system. On the top of the case as well, you'll also see that we have a 120-millimeter slot, so you can put an additional radiator over here. Typical ATX, so you can also have 7 expansion slots. And then the power supply has its own independent air channel. In terms of storage, you have plenty of 3.5 storage here. You can do additional 2.5 along the wall cage.
Cool. And how much does this retail for?
So like I had mentioned, this is really trying to be an affordable option to a lot of people. So retail-wise, you can find this on Newegg, Amazon, all of our other channels for about $80 US.
Okay, yeah. Cool. And then also you guys have made some innovations when it comes to SFX power supplies as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. So this is the one thing that we're really proud of to show you guys at the show. So in the past, we've really been known for coming in with a lot of power in these, like I mentioned, the small form factor power supplies, SFX. They're guys that when you take a look at them, for example, this is a traditional ATX, it's much larger. SFX is this tiny little guy. But what we've done this time at the show is we've been able to pack 650 watts into something that's typically the size of an ATX. Previously at other shows we had shown off, and what's available on the market, we have a 600 watt version of this, but at this show we're showing the 650 variation. It's 80 plus gold certified. The fan on it as well has a 92-millimeter fan. The previous one that's had 80 millimeters, so they might be a little bit louder. 92 makes it quite a bit quieter. And then just as well, we also included two PCIe ports on it. So if you wanted to, you could SLI using the small power supply.
Wow. And this is the highest density power supply in the SFX space.
Exactly. So you're not going to be getting anything more powerful than this for this small of a size. If you wanted to, we do have a 700 watt platinum version. So it keeps that same form factor in terms of the faceplate. It's a little bit longer, so we're able to have more space to be able to put more power in it. But if you're talking about as compact as it gets, SFX is going to be really a lot of power in this tiny little brick.
Is this the first SFX power supply to allow you to do SLI?
It is the first that allows us to have two PCIe out on the power supply. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And how? I mean, I was asking you this, off camera before, but how are you guys? I mean, how are you guys doing it?
It's a lot of engineering. It's a lot of recreating from the ground up. For example, on this one, if you take a look on the inside of it, I know you really can't on camera too much, but it's extremely packed. There's very little dead space. We built into it as much as we possibly could, as efficiently as we possibly could, especially with this one because we had to include that 92mm fan, so that was a little bit less space than we had even versus the previous generations. So it's just a lot of hard work on our engineering team and a lot of innovation.
Cool. And then, just as sort of a tangent thing, you guys are obviously, Silverstone's really big in, championing the small form factor, chassis and, power supplies now. And I think a lot of system integrators are using, your cases and your power supplies. Can you sort of talk about the design philosophy there? Is that something that you just saw, a couple of years back, you're like, there's an opening, like there's a need for it, we want to push it in the living room?
Yeah,
sort of talk about the mindset, the company mindset there.
Definitely. I mean, Silverstone, we've always wanted to be that high-end name brand, something that you can look towards and know that when you're going to be buying our products, you're going to be getting something that's a high quality. So one of the things that we did to start off, those were HTPC units, ones that had a high-quality aluminum front panels, extremely nice in terms of the way they looked and they felt, as well as the performance. They had excellent thermal performance. Nowadays, we want to go ahead and kind of continue that legacy, but with what we've seen that's been successful, which is the small form factor market, we see a lot of movement that way. Things, for example, like the steam box movements, people that are really just trying to get things like the R9 Nano put into smaller, tiny cases, a lot of power in a small, compact machine. Because a lot of people nowadays are realizing that you don't have to go SLI to be able to do fantastic 1080p performance or even getting into the realm of higher resolution like 4K. So we're just kind of accommodating those needs and seeing what the market wants, hearing their feedback, and trying to put out the best product that we possibly can for them.
Yeah, I'm sort of a big believer in the small form factor chassis. You don't really need it. Like, while we love giant towers, you don't really need one, especially if you're gonna like game at 1080p, on your TV or something like that, and you don't want a hulking tower in your living room anyways.
Yeah,
so it's kind of nice to see.
It's a good compromise to be able to get the same performance out of a small machine, because like I said, it's a lot of wasted space, kind of like we're talking about the power supplies. A lot of the big cases, you're having a lot of these features that are nice to have, but most of the time you're not filling them, and if you're not filling them, it's a bit of a waste.
Sure, and you guys are seeing a lot of interest and movement in that space as well?
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, it's a lot of people are liking where that market's going, so we're trying to, like I said, listen to what they're saying, take as much feedback as we can, and produce something that the customers are going to be really happy with.
Cool. And then moving on, I believe you guys also have a more budget-friendly mid-tower case as well?
Yeah, definitely. So the other new product that we're showing off at CES for the first time is the RL05B. This is part of our Redline series. A couple of things on this case are that we went ahead and, once again, like we mentioned, took a lot of the market feedback of what people are looking towards in cases and what makes them really excited. A couple of things that we did first off that you'll notice is that the power supply, it has its own independent shroud, its own independent air channel. As well with that, there's a lot of cutouts, so you can go ahead and do your cable management, no problems at all on how that works. We also noticed that people really want a huge window to be able to see all the internal components, so the case features a huge window cutout. And then on the front of the case, you'll notice that there's only one 5¼ bay. A lot of times people don't need the ODD now, but if they still want one, we opt for one single option, so you're not wasting a lot of space to have it on there.
Sure.
A couple other things that we include with the case. Because we only have that single ODD, it includes two 140mm fans. They're both red colors to match the red external on the case for now. And then on the back of it, you'll be able to see really easy installation for your 2.5-inch drives, huge cutouts for the motherboard, and just plenty of space to be able to do good cable management.
Awesome.
So the nice thing about this case is that we really want to make it something that is consumer-friendly, budget-friendly, so you're able to go ahead and have a nice look at a low price. The ballpark figure that we're aiming for with this case right now is going to be about $59.99 in the US.
Cool. That sounds like you're getting a lot of case for not that much money. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like I said, trying to make everybody happy.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.